download and upload more than ever before with an ultra-fast fiber connection. With 3 simple steps, you can be the one with an SLT fiber optic connection. Visit slt.lk.
New revelations. The Criminal Investigations Department informs court that former DIG Nalaka de Silva, who is embroiled in alleged VIP assassination plot, had maintained close relations with artist Amal Pereira. Pentagon warns sustained engagement. US Indo-Pacific Command Chief says although Sri Lanka's move to hand over Hambantota port to China caused international concern, the US wants close partnership. Do away with it. Former Minister Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa says the Constitutional Council is most corrupt and should be abolished. Making a pledge, Non-Cabinet Minister Dr. Harsha De Silva says government will intervene in ensuring smallholder paddy farmers get due benefit of market competition.
What we are trying to do is to fix a market failure without creating a government failure.
All this and more tonight, this Wednesday, the 13th of February, 2019.
From Ada Derana, this is Ada Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
And a very good evening. As the Criminal Investigations Department investigates possible links between the former DIG Nalaka de Silva and Marc-Andre Madush, we also have some other stories where the World Bank VP arrives in Sri Lanka, and also the Cabinet has granted approval to revise fines for serious traffic offences. We will try to take a look at all those stories and possibly at least a few of those stories. I will be joining you for the next 30 minutes alone. Mahish Johnny is on assignment, and we take a look at your top story making headlines tonight. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe highlights the need to set up a common unit that enables centralised implementation of funds allocated through the central administration to the basic level of the governing system. Now, the Premier pointed out that the system has now overreached its capacity, but an urgent solution through digitalization to create a modern model will assist all current challenges. CITRA, Sri Lanka's first social innovation lab, co-developed by the Ministry of Science, Technology and Research and the United Nations Development Programme, was launched today under the patronage of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. The innovation lab began its work an year ago in line with national development priorities, while bringing in greater citizen engagement to the formulation of development solutions.
I got the private sector involved, and we asked them in what areas you need research and in what areas you need our support. Government had a program, if the private sector involved and invest in R&D, for them to give a 300% tax rebate, and if they align with the government institutions, to give them a 200% tax rebate. I think this could encourage the private sector to get into R&D, and we've had a couple of meetings. So we are hoping to launch it probably in April or March.
I was looking at the functioning of the central government administration at the basic level. That is the division. We have already overreached our capacity. Just looking at the monies that are to be spent on Gamperaliya, Grama Shakti, the DCB and other basic ground level programs, there's a big issue of capacity. And the divisional secretariat also sometimes have tug of war between the government and the provincial council. But those are today's problems. I am looking at tomorrow's problems. Is this model outdated? And how do we digitalize it when half the people in the village are already carrying sophisticated handphones? It did, I must say, yeoman service during the war, when they virtually, the divisional secretaries carried a big load of ensuring that the day-to-day life functioned in the areas. But when you are looking forward at 2020 and 2030, is this enough? Is the division, or have we got to go into some other unit? Now we are looking at how we can at least identify a common unit to implement all this. How we redesign the structure where there is genuine participation by the people in the action.
Police used tear gas and water cannons to disperse protesting unemployed graduates who were obstructing the Lotus roundabout in Colombo today. A group of unemployed graduates commenced their protest campaign in front of the Fort Railway Station, and later they commenced the march towards the Presidential Secretariat. Police took action to close the entrance to the Golface Road at the Lotus roundabout. Police also used tear gas and water cannons to disperse these protesting unemployed graduates as they attempted to forcibly enter the Golface Road. However, police also allowed 10 protesters to go to the Presidential Secretariat and hold discussions with an official of the Presidential Secretariat. The unemployed graduates who participated in the discussion later said that it brought no results for their demands of receiving employment opportunities for employed graduates. Now, last week, a member of the so-called Awa group, Arulanandan Arun, claimed that politicians in the north do not provide any solutions to the issues faced by the people in the region that they claim to represent. He even went on to accuse Tamil politicians of limiting opportunities that the people have at hand and restrict them from even learning the language of Sinhalese. He remained positive that learning the language of Sinhala would pave the way for better communal understanding between the Sinhalese and Tamil people. However, his comments have ruffled some feathers, with former Chief Minister of the Northern Province, C.V. Vigneswaran, today vehemently refuting these claims.
ආව කණ්ඩායමේ නායකයා විදිහට හඳුන්වන අරුන් සිද්ධාර්ථන් ප්‍රකාශයක් කරලා තියෙනවා TN එකෙන් සහ උතුරේ දැනට ඉන්න දේශපාලකයන්ගෙන් කිසිම සහනයක් වුන්ට නැහැ ජනතාවට නැහැ කියලා.
එයා සිංහල කතා කරන්න හැටියට බලනකොට එයා කොහෙන්ද ආවේ කියලා අපිට ටිකක් සැකයක් තියෙනවා. එයා ඉතින් දේශපාලන කරනවා නම් ඒවා ඇවිල්ලා දේශපාලන මේවෙන් එහෙ කතා කරන්න කියන්නේ ඕවා ගිහිලා ඔහෙ කියලා වැඩක් නැහැ. එහෙම එකක් තියෙනවා නම් එයා ඇවිල්ලා පක්ෂයට බැඳලා කතා කරන්න කියන්නේ. එතකොට අපි ඒකට උත්තර දෙනවා.
ඒ වගේම උතුරේ ඉන්න දේශපාලඥයන් කැමති නැහැ උතුරේ ඉන්න ජනතාව සිංහල ඉගෙන ගන්නවා.
දෙමළ මිනිස්සුන්ගේ අයිතිකම දුන්නතින් හොඳට සෑම දෙනාම සිංහල ඉගෙන ගන්නවානේ. 1948 ඉඳලා 56 එනකන් ඔක්කොම ඉගෙන ගත්තානේ. මම 55 දී සිංහල ඉගෙන ගන්න පටන් ගත්තා රාජකීය විද්‍යාලයේ. 56 දී රට පුරාම සිංහල පමණයි කියලා කියනකොට මම ඊට පස්සේ සිංහල ඉගෙන ගන්න නැහැ කියලා කිව්වා.
උතුරේ දෙමළ ජනතාව අතර කුල ප්‍රශ්නේ වැඩිපුරම තියෙනවා.
දකුණේ නැද්ද? මම කියන්න පුළුවන් කොහෙද මම දකුණේ කොළඹ ඉපදුනේ කියලා මට දන්නවනේ.
Well, a top U.S. commander has advocated sustained American engagement with Sri Lanka despite the political turmoil in the island nation, posing a challenge to bilateral ties amid increasing Chinese influence in the strategically important Indo-Pacific region. U.S. Indo-Pacific Command Chief Admiral Philip Davidson had told the Senate's Armed Services Committee during a congressional hearing that U.S. military-to-military ties continue to grow with the island nation of Sri Lanka. He was quoted as saying that Sri Lanka remains a significant strategic opportunity in the Indian Ocean, but the political turmoil and ethnic tension remain diverse or as drivers of instability and potential obstacles to continued growth in the bilateral partnership of the United States and Sri Lanka. Now, the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command Chief Admiral Philip Davidson also added that Sri Lanka's move to hand over the Hambantota port to China on a 99-year lease due to mounting debts to China has caused international concern. According to the top Pentagon commander, Beijing is exploiting growing debt burdens to access strategic infrastructure in the region, and he said that increasing Navy-to-Navy engagement with Sri Lanka will be a key focus of the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command in year 2019 this year. Well, the Minister of Power, Energy and Business Development, Ravi Karunanayake, seeks Chinese investment to promote sustainable energy solutions in Sri Lanka. While hailing China's involvement in Sri Lanka's investments and development through significant growth investment to the island nation, the minister also welcomed a project to develop Chinese language proficiency in Sri Lanka. Addressing the event to launch this program, the minister said that the program comes with a plan to generate a total of some 25,000 Mandarin-speaking task force in the country.
The role of China in Sri Lanka at present not only extends from trading but also in the magnitude of projects which is changing the skyline and the geography of Sri Lanka. My ministry is proud to be associated to Chinese projects to a major degree through Norocholi coal power plant, which has been financed at concessionary funding process. However, my immediate concerns are to promote sustainable energy solutions in the light of natural resources available such as sunlight and wind power. I believe Sichuan province could play a vital role in regard. I am hopeful that Your Excellency, the Governor, could use your good officers to facilitate the realization of such goals. It's noted that the Chinese investments in Sri Lanka has been growing significantly in the last 10 years and it continues to remain high in comparison to other countries in the region. Chinese foreign direct investments was directed mostly towards infrastructure development, including transportation, power and energy. The most important being the International Financial City Port City project in Colombo, which is being built to realize Sri Lanka's ambition of becoming a financial and logistics hub in the Indian Ocean.
The Employability, Skills and Youth Empowerment Program to train 25,000 Mandarin-speaking task force in Sri Lanka was launched in Colombo recently. The project has been approved by the Sri Lankan government and will be implemented by the Sri Lanka-China Trade and Investment Promotion Chamber.
It is beyond reasonable doubt that such process will facilitate closer cooperation with all existing and intended Chinese projects and investments with our nations. Your plans to develop empowered graduates to be gainfully employed as Chinese language interpreters, English and Chinese teachers, and to be employed with Chinese companies and organizations will significantly contribute for the betterment of the economy.
And UNP parliamentarian Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa calls for the abolishment of the Constitutional Council, which he claims to be the most corrupt institution in the country. Dr. Rajapaksa also challenged the members of the Constitutional Council to a live televised debate in a case they refuse or refute his allegations.
දේශපාලනීකරණය වෙච්ච රටේ තිබෙන දූෂිත ආයතන අතරින් ඉතාමත්ම දූෂිත ආයතනයක් තමයි ව්‍යවස්ථාදායක සභාව. අද ජනාධිපතිවරයාට අභියාචනාධිකරණයට සභාපතිවරයෙක් පත් කර ගැනීමටවත් මේ ව්‍යවස්ථාදායක සභාව ඉඩකඩ සලසා දෙන්නේ නැහැ. මෙම සභාව මගින් නිර්දේශ කරපු බොහෝ අවස්ථාවලදී නිවැරදි සාධාරණ යුක්තිසහගත අපක්ෂපාතී තීන්දුව තීරණ ගත්තේ නැහැ කියන එක ඉතාමත්ම පැහැදිලි. ඊට උදාහරණ වශයෙන් මට කියන්න පුළුවන් සොලිසිටර් ජෙනරල් සුහද ගම්ලත් මහත්මයාට නීතිපති තනතුර සඳහා යවපු නිර්දේශය ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කළේ ඊට පෙර රජයේ මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ ජනාධිපතිවරයා ඔහුව අධිකරණ අමාත්‍යාංශයේ ලේකම්වරයා වශයෙන් පත් කර තිබීම නිසා. දැනට අභියාචනාධිකරණයේ වැඩ බලන විනිශ්චයකාරතුමිය වශයෙන් කටයුතු කරන දීපාලි විජේසුන්දර මැතිණිය අභියාචනාධිකරණයේ සභාපති තනතුර සඳහා මෙන්ම ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨාධිකරණයේ විනිශ්චයකාර තනතුර සඳහා ජනාධිපතිතුමා යෝජනා කර සෑම අවස්ථාවකම ව්‍යවස්ථාදායක සභාව ඒ ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කළා. ඒ ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කරන්න තිබුණ එකම හේතුව තමයි සුදු කොඩි නඩුවේදී එතුමිය මහාධිකරණ විනිශ්චයකාරවරිය විදිහට ඒකේ චූදිතයන් වැරදි කාර්ය කරලා නඩු තීන්දුව ලබා දීම. ව්‍යවස්ථාදායක සභාවේ හිටපු සමාජිකයෝ හරි දැන් ඉන්න සමාජිකයෝ හරි මේ මම කරන චෝදනාව වැරදි කියලා කියනවා නම් ඒ සියලු දෙනා එක්කම එකට උනත් මම විවාදයකට සූදානම් සජීවී රූපවාහිනී විවාදයකට එන්න කියලා මම අභියෝග කරනවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ ව්‍යවස්ථාදායක සභාව තවදුරටත් පවත්වාගෙන යාම රටට අහිත කරයි. එය අවලංගු කිරීම කෙරෙහි ව්‍යවස්ථාදායකේ ශනික අවධානය යොමු විය යුතුව තිබෙනවා.
Former Minister Basil Rajapaksa today moved to profess the party from which a presidential candidate will emerge victorious during the looming election. Speaking to media today, he expressed certainty that a president from the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna will take oath towards the end of this year. The case against former Minister Basil Rajapaksa pertaining to the purchase of land in Browns Hill of Mathura for 50 million rupees with money earned through questionable means was taken up at the Mathura Magistrates Court today. Following the day's proceedings, the former minister was quizzed by media.
මේ මොකද ජාතික ආණ්ඩුව පිළිබඳ කතා බහක් ඇති වෙන තියෙනවා.
අපේ කොට්ටුවේ ජනාධිපතිතුමා ලබන දෙසැම්බර් 9 වෙනිදා දිවුරුම් දීමට පස්සේ අපේ මේ රටේ ගම් 36000ම වැළඳගත් සංවර්ධන වැඩපිළිවෙළ සකස් කිරීමත් ඒ වගේම මේ රටේ ජීවත් වෙන පවුල් 50 ලක්ෂයක් පවුල් ඇති හැකි අය කරලා සමුදිමත් පවුල් බවට පත් කිරීමේ වැඩසටහන මේ දවස්වල අපේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොදු ජන පෙරමුණ සකස් කරගෙන යනවා. ඒ අනුව අපි අලුත් ජනාධිපතිතුමා යටතේ ලොකු වැඩපිළිවෙලක් කරගෙන යනවා බලාපොරොත්තු.
Well, the unfolding saga of drug lord Madhush Pereira's arrest with 30 others. We will follow the story, but we have other local news tonight. UNP parliamentarian Tushara Indunil calls for a presidential election ahead of a provincial council election. Addressing media today, the MP said that elections are postponed deliberately and the chairman of the election commission should give priority to presidential polls.
මේ අවුරුදු 3 ඇතුළත ක්‍රිකට් ක්‍රීඩාවේ කඩාවැටීමට මේ රජය වගකිය යුතුයි කියලා. ඉතින් මමත් කියනවා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ තමයි මේකට වග කියන්න ඕනේ. මොකද රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමා තමයි ක්‍රීඩා ඇමතිවරු පත් කරේ. ශ්‍රී ලංකා ක්‍රිකට් සභාපතිවරු ඇදිට තිලංග සුමතිපාල මහත්තයා. එතුමාව පත් කරලා තියෙන්නේ රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ. රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ තමයි වග කියන්න ඕනේ ක්‍රිකට් ක්‍රීඩාවේ විනාශයට. ඒ නිසා මම හිතන්නේ ඒ සම්බන්ධව ජනාධිපති කොමිසම පත් කරත් හොඳයි මේ ක්‍රිකට් ක්‍රීඩාවේ විනාශයට රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහගේ දායකත්වයේ සම්බන්ධව.
අපි පළාත් සභා මැතිවරණය පිළිබඳව මාධ්‍ය වලට ටෝක් දුන්නට වැඩක් නැහැ. මම දැක්කා ඊට අපේ වර්තමාන ජනාධිපතිතුමත් මේ ගැන බොහොම උනන්දුවෙන් කතා කරනවා. මෛත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන ජනාධිපතිතුමාගේ ළඟම සගයෙක් වන ෆයිසර් මුස්තාෆා හිටපු පළාත් පාලන ඇමතිවරයා තමයි මැතිවරණ කල් දැමීමේ ක්‍රියාවලියේ පප්පා. මැතිවරණ කොමසාරිස්තුමාටත් අපි කියන්නේ මේ කුඩා ප්‍රාථමික ඡන්දවලට අපි යන්නේ නැතුව මේ රටේ ප්‍රධානම ජාතික මැතිවරණයේ ජනාධිපතිවරණයට අපි යමු කියන කාරණේ ඒක කියන්නේ.
Well, the unfolding saga of drug lord Makhandre Madhush's arrest with 30 others in Dubai took another turn today when the kingpin's name, along with arrested artist Amal Pereira, were mentioned during the hearings of the assassination plot in President Maithripala Sirisena and former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Officials from the Criminal Investigations Department informed court that they have information which links the singer Amal Pereira to former DIG Nalaka de Silva. The former DIG is in remand custody over the alleged VIP assassination plot. Notorious underworld leader and drug kingpin Makhandre Madhush and singer Amal Pereira were arrested in Dubai during a party on the 4th of this month. 29 others were also arrested along with Amal Pereira's son Nadimal Pereira. Following the cadre's arrest over cocaine-related offences, contrary to reports which emerged last week, they are yet to be produced before court and are detained at a police station in Dubai. The two high-profile figures among the arrested, drug lord Madhush and singer Amal Pereira, were surprise mentions at the Fort Magistrates Court today when the case pertaining to the assassination plot on the President and the former Defence Secretary were taken up. Officers of the Criminal Investigations Department told court that according to their findings, singer Amal Pereira had a close relationship with former DIG Nalaka de Silva, who is also in remand custody over the alleged assassination plot. Now, the CID also informed the magistrate that they will seek assistance of Interpol to ascertain the nature of the relationship between the duo. They also told court that singer Amal Pereira had visited the office of former DIG Nalaka de Silva on the 21st of July in year 2016, and a police constable had questioned the purpose of the singer's meeting with the then DIG. Now, the CID went on to say that the former DIG had lost his temper over the inquisitive action of the constable and sent the relevant constable on a training course while also assigning him punishment duty while handing the constable a transfer. The CID also said that they are receiving information over the former DIG's ties with both drug kingpin Makhandre Madhush and singer Amal Pereira. Meanwhile, today an official from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that the authorities from the United Arab Emirates had informed them that a judicial investigation is being conducted against the 31 arrested suspects from Sri Lanka over the violation of its country's law. The official also said that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is working together with the Ministry of Defence on the matter. Stay with us. We'll return with your business, sports and international news after this short break.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel. This is Other Derana 24.
Welcome back in your business news. Non-Cabinet Minister of Economic Reforms and Public Distribution, Dr. Harsha De Silva today revealed that the government will put out a set of policies that will address current imbalances in the country's paddy market. Dr. Harsha De Silva also said that competition in the market should be reactivated, especially to benefit the small-scale farmer who have been eliminated due to lack of financial support for years. He also said that the government will intervene in ensuring a maximum price for paddy farmers and to maintain price stability with the implementation of paddy purchasing mechanism through the Paddy Marketing Board.
You said that you are concerned about the customer and competition. Yeah. But these economic textbooks say that, if there's price controls and if there's protectionism, it leads to consumers being victimized.
No, it's a valid question. See, what we are trying to do is to fix a market failure. What happens is when markets fail, governments intervene with the intention of fixing market failure. What happens then sometimes is government failure happens. That is worse than market failure. So what we are trying to do is to make sure that we put in place a set of policies where we try to reactivate competition in the market to solve the problem of market failure without creating a government failure. Why there is an oligopolistic structure in the paddy milling, rice milling market is because the competition has sort of got killed over a period of years. Now the small and medium rice miller is almost non-existent. We are trying to give them life again. And by doing that, we will create competition which will help both the farmer and the consumer.
Is this under the new budget?
Allocations already made. Currently, allocations have been made. It's coming from the Treasury. Because the government can't be doing this throughout. We are catalyzing this. Once we catalyze and once the rice mill owners are back in business, they can go back to their own banks. They have facilities with their banks and the banks can continue their daily normal operation.
The Colombo Stock Exchange announced the appointment of Murtaza Jefferji, chairman of JB Securities, and Dimuthu Sanjay Abesekara, the director and chief executive of Asha Philip Securities, as the directors of the CSE. A CSE statement said that the appointments to the CSE director board will be effective from February 1st of this year. Now, Dimuthu Abesekara's Asha Philip Securities is affiliated with Philip Capital Singapore, a specialized financial services organization managing assets worth over $35 billion with a network of offices around the world. The CSE said he is an experienced capital market professional, counting over 30 years in the industry. Murtaza Jefferji has over 25 years of experience in capital markets across multiple asset classes, according to the CSE. He serves on the board of Nations Trust Bank and Serendip Hotels PLC as an independent director, and also served on the board of the CSE from August 2017 to July 2009, or August 2007 to July 2009. Well, taking you to today's trade at the Colombo Bourse, the all-share price index ended steady at 5,930.47, hovering near its lowest close since November 23rd, which was hit in its previous session. Now, the benchmark index added 0.26 points, while the S&P SL20 index added 0.03%. The turnover was a mere 278.9 billion rupees, well below last year's daily average of 834 million rupees. The bond market in the meantime saw inflows of 11.4 billion rupees in the week ended February 6th, recording the third straight weekly inflow. And we have Hiruni Pereira from First Capital Holdings with a brief report.
Investor sentiment continued to remain weak in the both capital markets, while bond rates saw slight upward shift with selling pressure in short and mid-term maturities, while in the stock market we saw benchmark index remaining flat with low level of turnover due to less retail participation.
And the world's leading crude oil benchmark Brent crude saw its prices rise today after top exporter Saudi Arabia said it would cut crude exports and deliver an even deeper cut to its production. US futures gained on a decline in domestic oil inventories. Brent crude futures were up 77 cents at $63.19 a barrel, while US crude oil futures rose 53 cents to $53.63 a barrel. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries said yesterday that it had cut its output by almost 800,000 barrels per day in January to 30.81 million barrels per day. Most of that reduction has been thanks to Saudi Arabia. Its energy minister Khalid Al-Fayed told the Financial Times that production would fall below 10 million barrels per day in March, more than 500,000 below the target it agreed to as a part of a global deal to limit supply. And the Sri Lankan rupee ended weaker today as importer dollar demand surpassed the exporter greenback sales. The rupee ended at 180 rupees and 4 cents against the US dollar, and the US currency or the local currency posted a weekly loss of 0.7% against the US currency last week due to importer demand in the latter part of the week. Here's a look at your foreign exchange rates for the day. Well, in our top news from international news, the CEO of Rappler, a news website critical of the government in the Philippines, has been arrested at its headquarters in Manila. Maria Riza has been accused of cyberbullying over a report on a businessman's allegations or alleged ties to a former judge. Press freedom advocates see this as an attempt by the government to silence news organizations. And we take you to Venezuela, where Venezuelan opposition leader Juan Guaido has vowed at a rally in the capital Caracas to ensure humanitarian aid blocked by President Nicolas Maduro is brought into the country. Guaido said new collection points and routes into the country would allow volunteers to bring the aid in. President Nicolas Maduro told the BBC that he would not allow aid in, claiming it was a means for the United States to intervene in Venezuelan affairs. Venezuelans are facing drastic food shortages amid an economic crisis as the political situation there continues to deteriorate. Guaido, who has been recognized by the United States and most Western countries as interim president of Venezuela, told his supporters in the capital that humanitarian aid would be brought into Venezuela on the 23rd of February. President Nicolas Maduro still enjoys widespread support among the Venezuelan population, and the loyalty of the military and his leftist government is backed by Russia and China. And Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison said today that he will reopen a controversial detention centre in the Christmas Island after a historic debate in Parliament yesterday. A bill approved by the Senate today dealt a blow to the ruling Conservative coalition, which is trailing heavily in polls ahead of an election due in May. Since 2013, Australia has seen asylum seekers arriving by boat to detention centres on Papua New Guinea's Manus Islands, Nauru, as well as Christmas Island. Non-government MPs of the Australian Parliament secured enough votes to pass a bill in the House yesterday, making it easier for Sikh refugees held offshore to be treated in the country. The amendment approved by the Senate today dealt a blow to the ruling Conservative coalition ahead of the federal election due in May. The lower house had earlier voted for the measure, the first such loss by a government in 78 years. The Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison, however, said that the law would weaken the nation's tough border policies and embolden human traffickers.
This Parliament has already tipped its hand enough to the people smugglers. I won't be doing that in compromising our operations and how we now address the consequences of what this Parliament is doing to our borders. We have approved putting in place the reopening of the Christmas Island detention facilities and a series of compounds there, both to deal with the prospect of arrivals as well as dealing with the prospect of transfers.
And we'll return with the sports news after this short break.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel. This is Ada Derana 24.
In your sports, one of the candidates for Sri Lanka cricket's vice presidency, Minister Arjuna Ranatunga, promises to reveal all with regard to corruption within the country's cricket governing body once he's elected. SLC elections are set to be held on the 21st of this month, and several nominations, including that of Mohan De Silva and Ravin Wickramaratne, are already rejected by the appeals committee. President, two vice presidents, a secretary and an assistant secretary, and a treasury and also an assistant treasurer will be elected through the upcoming elections at Sri Lanka cricket.
We don't need captains. We want a team. Lot of people wanted to have the tags. I'm not a great believer in tags. No point of being the president or the vice president or the secretary if the job can't be done. Now, even I was told by a lot of people to contest as the president. I should have gone to the president, the minister, and got a letter. I shouldn't do that. So we discussed this matter. We wanted Jayanta Dharmadasa to be the president, and Mati Manan and I decided that we will be the vice president. It's like picking a World Cup team. If we can't perform, not like the other party, I'm not going to come in front of voters and ask for a vote on the next election. This is something we will have 2 years. I know what to do on the cricket part. They have to look after the administration part. And the most importantly, I know for sure the money will be safe, which has been corrupted very badly in the last so many years. How this money went abroad to different accounts, those are the things the media should get in. Go and pressurize the minister, get the details. I will do that as a vice president, and I'm going to give the entire country what has happened in the past.
Well, that's all the news from us here tonight. Do log on to www.adaderana.lk for the very latest and follow us on our social media sites. I'm Indi Variyamwat. Have a pleasant evening.